Hi guys, my name is Roberto Corona. I am an Italian anthroposopher and astrologer, and in this video we're going to talk about the next full moon in Leo happening on January 25. Now, as you can see from this image, with this moon we are entering Aquarius, which is the very core of the winter season, and this is a month which is all about purification, and it is definitely a month connected to the return of the light, which is a very important aspect, at least, of course, if you're living in the northern hemisphere. Now, here we can see the chart of the event, but as always, let's first of all talk about the last changes in the sky. Now, on January 14, Mercury entered Capricorn, and as you can see, Mercury is here in close conjunction with Mars. And on January 20th, of course, the Sun and Pluto together entered Aquarius. And this is, of course, very, very powerful. Now, I can immediately tell you that this full moon is definitely going to activate this second ingress of Pluto in Aquarius. And if you're interested in all three steps of this process of Pluto entering Aquarius, I'm going to leave you the link of the video that I made about it in the description box down below. Now, Pluto will remain in Aquarius for 7 months, and then it's going to get back to Capricorn briefly from September 2nd to November 19th, which is the day of its last and definite ingress into Aquarius. And finally, on January 23rd, we have Venus also entering Capricorn. Now, this full moon is special in a sense because it is going to accompany us towards Candlemas or Imbolc, according to the Celts, which falls on February 2nd. It is a festival of the light associated with purification. And in this sense, this moon is favorable because it is the beginning of the waning moon. This means that we reach the peak of the light with the full moon, and then slowly the etheric forces which fully manifested in the full moon, they start to release, basically. And for this reason, this is a good moment for a review and a good moment for shedding light in the darkness, in the unconscious, for shadow work as well. It is a time for awareness, revelations, liberation, but here, above all, release and purification as we move towards the new, as we move towards Candlemas and Imbolc. And this gestation of these new impulses that we prepare with this process leading us to the next new moon is going to start a new process, a new lunation, which is going to happen with the next new moon in Aquarius on February 9. So if we take a closer look to the chart, we can see the moon here. The full moon is located at 5 degrees 14 minutes Leo and can be found in the starry image of Cancer. The moon is, this means that this moon is ruled by the sun, which is quite special, and the sun, of course, is making a perfect opposition. This is a technical definition of a full moon. The sun is located at 5 degrees 14 minutes Aquarius, and of course it is in close conjunction with Pluto, yes, but on top of that also with two stars. The star Bos, located at 5 degrees 30 Aquarius, which is very close to the star Oculus, the eye of the Capricorn. Now, both of these stars are in fact a part of Capricorn, and they have the nature of Venus and Saturn. And this is interesting because the chart is referring to both these natures because the two planets, Venus and Saturn, are making a sextile. And as you can see, the sun is separating from Pluto, and we have definitely harmonious aspects in this chart. And since the sun is getting away from Pluto, it is like the sun getting away from the darkness of winter, because now light is getting back. Now, this opposition of the luminaries, of course, sun and moon, as you can see, is closed by another planet, and this is Jupiter in Taurus. This is a quite intense T-square configuration because it is happening in fixed signs. And whenever fixed signs are involved, you can expect tensions to be more pronounced. Now, Jupiter, of course, is not alone, can count on other planets forming good aspects with it. And in particular, we have this configuration called Grand Minor Trine, formed by a sextile between Jupiter and Saturn, another sextile that we just mentioned between Saturn and Venus, and as you can see, both of the benefics are connected by another trine. And this is a good configuration, and it is going to at least try to smooth these tensions. Now, concerning the meanings associated with the chart, let's start, of course, as always, from the physical ones. Now, as you know, Leo is associated with sovereigns, heads of state, the wealthy, famous, and powerful people, whereas, as we know, Pluto in Aquarius represents the revolution, the revolt coming from the masses, which opposes them. And for this reason, the chart represents a real activation of this second and very important ingress of Pluto into Aquarius. Now, the T-square, closed by Jupiter in Taurus, can also represent the land, wealth, and abundance. And this is because Taurus is the zodiac sign of nature, of natural resources. And this abundance is disputed between the powerful and the masses. And for this reason, we may be witnessing at least the first stages towards new protest movements against high living costs, or even strikes caused by taxes or reforms to pension systems. And in fact, as we've seen in 2023, France, during the first ingress of Pluto into Aquarius, was lit up in this sense with very violent riots. So I'm definitely going to check out the France situation. Now, the protests could have a humanitarian but also an environmental nature. Humanitarian, in order to request a truce from the ongoing war conflicts, and environmental, Taurus, right, leading to a revival of the green movements, as Taurus represents resources and nature herself. Since the chart also features a trine between Uranus and Mars, so let me show you that. It's here. We have Mars in conjunction with Mercury making a trine with Uranus. Well, this means that there could actually also be physical clashes, although, again, Jupiter can count on this support coming from both Saturn and Venus. Now, from an individual perspective, we could find ourselves in the midst of these group movements, which could also involve, smaller groups such as our family or even co-workers. But in general, groups that in some way are protesting against a guiding figure who can be represented by a family member or the employer, our boss, and so on. Now, from the soul perspective, instead, the main challenge, again, of the chart, of course, is represented by Pluto, which is in conjunction with the sun, yes, but above all, in opposition to the moon. And Pluto in Aquarius represents the power of the masses that tries to dim our own light. It is the voice that is telling us that we're nothing special, that we are replaceable, that we are like everybody else. And for this reason, Pluto here is second-guessing our self-worth as individuals. that element that only we have and which is unique to us and not replaceable at all. And of course, this is represented by the full moon shining like gold in Leo. And here we can say we find the archetype of the queen or the empress, if you want to work with this picture, with this image. Now, in other words, the shadow of the collective, represented by Pluto in Aquarius, is trying to swallow our light to basically make us anything special like everybody else. And so the risk for us here is to respond to that, but going towards a narcissistic coping mechanism. And why are we tempted to do that? Because we are called to compensate for this criticism that is coming our way. And this exaggeration, this ego boost, if you will, is given by the joint effect of the full moon, which is in Leo, of course, a quite pride zodiac sign, which is fueled by the overly expansive effect of Jupiter, making a square with the moon, right? Now, Jupiter, on top of that, is the planet of trust. It is the planet of self-confidence. So definitely an ego boost here, because Jupiter always expands anything it touches, but with a square, it can, be too much. Now, the advice here is to reconnect within with our own and true personal value without falling into these narcissistic dynamics. Now, from a spiritual perspective, the full moon shines in the starry image of Cancer. Now, in astrosophy, this constellation is connected to the ancient impulse that led human beings towards materialism, which, by the way, is a spiritual current that is denying the spirit, but nevertheless, it is a spiritual stream. And this was a fundamental stage for the correct evolution of humanity towards freedom from the gods. But from the mystery of Golgotha onwards, this constellation, which was quite involved in the resurrection process, can be considered as the spiritual impulse that leads us to the redemption of materialism. And since this is a full moon, the waning phase begins. And with it, a purification and release process. Now, purification from what? A release of these materialistic forces that we are now called to overcome. And in this regard here, the temptation is instead represented by Jupiter in Taurus, which can be quite materialistic in terms of, material abundance. Now, Cancer is also connected, the constellation, to the archangels. So spiritually, we find here a connection with the so-called fox soul. Now, what is this? Basically, as you may know, every human being is guided by an angel, right? Which is the holy guardian angel. Now, the same happens with peoples that are guided instead by an archangel. So since we all belong to a people, we are connected to the archangel that guides that people, which we call in anthroposophy fox soul, right? Now, in this sense, we are called here to establish a healthy relationship with the forces of group souls in general in order to overcome this darkness of this Ahrimanic collective, represented instead by Pluto in Aquarius in opposition to this moon in the starry image of Cancer. Now, on top of that, the star Oculus, which represents the eye of Capricorn, can be understood as a warning to be vigilant, given that very often the star creates blind spots. So I wish everyone a good purification process from the forces of materialism as we approach the festival of the return of the light, Candlemas or Imbolc. As always, thanks for watching. If you want to support my work, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell not to miss out on future astrological insights. I am Roberto Corona. See you in the next video.